Alright everyone, welcome back to episode 11 of the Forza Horizon 1 Let's Play. I know it has been quite a while since the last episode, but as I'm sure you know, it was for obvious reasons. Some massive videos and news I needed to get out before that. But here we are, back again, and I'm going to be posting a lot more of these in the next week or two. So now we have purple events unlocked. I'm going to start off by just getting this B-class event done, getting some points. Okay, well we could do that. I'm going to do this actual event first, and then we can take care of this showcase. Alright, so in this episode we are going to be talking a lot about Forza, and especially Horizon 5, because we, since the last episode, had, I believe it was 2 Let's Goes? Yeah, I think it was two episodes of Let's Go. We had one yesterday as of the time I'm recording this, and then we had the engine sounds one. So yeah, 2. Jeez. So let's start off with the engine sounds themselves. That stream was pretty epic, if I don't say so myself. The new sound tech itself is quite an interesting departure. You know, they used to use, I believe it was cars on a rolling dyno, which was good. You know, it works, but it wasn't like super accurate in terms of being able to capture how an engine revs and how a drivetrain works, as well as, well, actually driving the car and recording the sounds. This new method for using that runway that they showed off in the stream is quite interesting to me, and I think it's gonna, well, I don't think, it is resulting in much better sounds, as we heard in the stream. Whoa. What is he doing, man? Jeez, some of the AI in this game. But of course, this is going to result in overall so much more realistic sounds, and I just cannot wait to drive some of my favorite cars and see the differences in sound quality. We're getting, we're almost, we're getting on our way to the gold wristband. Okay, so let's get that showcase done before I totally forget about it. Not the discount sign. There we go. So on our way there, let's talk about the latest stream. So as I'm recording this, the stream was yesterday, and it covered a good amount about the map and some of the new biomes that we're going to see in the game. And I made a news update if you wanted to hear a little more in depth as to what we saw. I'm just going to quickly brief over what we saw here. But we got a glimpse at some of the new biomes in the game, and like new swamps, jungles, stuff like that. It looks really quite good. And in terms of when we're going to be seeing more about the map, it's going to be in, I believe, 2 weeks. So not very long to wait until we get a full glimpse at the rest of the map, which is going to be awesome, as Mexico is definitely one of Horizon 5's biggest selling points at this point in time, because this map looks damn good. So much better than Horizon 4's UK could ever even imagine being. Now this all kind of leads me into a question that I have for all of you. If you had your ideal Forza Horizon map, where would it take place? You know, you could choose from like a revamped version of things that they've done in the past. You know, I've heard people suggesting like the crew style, doing the entire United States. That's a really cool idea too. But in general, just if you had to pick 1 to 3 locations, where would you want your ideal Horizon game to be? So we're in an F40, huh? Okay, I can deal with this. But moving on, so once you've picked your favorite maps and all of that, I want to discuss GTA Online really quick. So we got a new update relatively recently, within the past week, the Tuners update. Originally, I was going to make a full video covering it, but I just decided it wasn't necessarily worth putting that much effort into. I personally just didn't feel the need for it. I think I was more likely just going to mention it here, and that's what I'm doing. So when it comes to the overall update out of 10, I give it a 7 out of 10 for a few reasons, and I'm going to explain why. So the cars themselves that they added in the update are like 9 or 10 out of 10. They are fantastic new vehicles. But the gameplay in the new event is lacking quite a lot, in my opinion. The car meet itself, while an interesting concept, I feel like after a few weeks, a month, there's not going to be very many people actually using it. This is made worse by the fact that it's quite literally only one location in the entire map, and that's really not that great. So aside from the car meet itself, the other stuff like the auto shop is where I start to have my issues with the update. The auto shop itself, while the property is a cool idea and I actually quite like the looks of it, it does remind me a lot of some of the shops I've been in, and not, while a hell of a lot cleaner than the shop I work in personally, it's kinda, you know, kinda like that.
I'm warning you, this is a race for grown-ups, because I don't want to see tears when I whip your ass.
Bro, Haley, you need to calm down, oh my god. That GTR launch though, okay, I am feeling this. So yes, the auto shop, while it looks great, my problem with it comes to the actual content that it lacks and hasn't thought out very well. So for starters, the main selling point of the auto shop is this like ability to fix customers' cars, then tune them and deliver them, which is a cool concept, you know, almost, you know, Fast and Furious like, stuff like that. The problem is the payouts and monotony of the events. It's all the exact same thing. You make barely any money by doing these. It's like, what, 40 to 60,000 GTA dollars, which if you don't play GTA Online, that's pocket change. And again, they could have done something interesting to it by having the ability for like cops to chase you, or just varying a little bit. I say cops chase me as I hear sirens in the background, but they just could have implemented it better in my opinion. Speaking of things that they could have implemented better, they also introduced these like mini heists in the update where you'll have to go to a train and steal some ECUs or something like that. And again, this whole update's like trying to go Fast and Furious themed, which is again cool, but I just don't know if they implemented it in the right way. These mini heists are, well, basically exactly like the other heists in the game. You have 2 prep missions and then 1 mini finale. And the payouts for the finale suck. Like $150,000 to $200,000. Again, if you don't play GTA Online, that is nothing. That is a tenth of a car. So the ability to make money in this update is pretty horrible. If you look at what came before this with the Cayo Perico update, and the ability that you can make $1 million in 30-45 minutes, then you look at this, it's a big departure from the relatively player and consumer friendly Cayo Perico update. But just to summarize the update, I feel that it could have been great if this wasn't ruined by GTA Online's existing issues. I feel like this update really exposed everything right and wrong with GTA Online. The cars are great, customization's great, visually everything's great. The problem is when you actually start playing it and realize how empty and just same old everything feels. But anyways, moving on from GTA, back to some channel stuff. So I posted that 5,000 subscriber, thank you video, which again, 5K is insane. But again, in that video, I mentioned that I'm going to be slowing down uploads, and this is 100% true. I'm going to be going down to about 1 video a week, with special exceptions like if I have stuff pre-recorded, or if there's, crazy news that comes out or something, then I'll be working on it. But I just really want to take my time and have more time to just not stress out about making videos, and take more time to really improve the ones that I'm already working on. And taking those extra few days really makes a huge difference. And also in the past, I know I'm fully guilty of this, but I like to reveal projects. I don't know what I'm doing here, but I like to reveal projects before I start them, and I'm not very secretive about what I'm working on. And I think that's something that I need to switch, because while I enjoy seeing the reaction to stuff that I'm working on, it's definitely a better idea to keep it a surprise, and then when a video comes out, it's like, Ooh, this is interesting. But yes, in terms of secrecy, I'm going to being a little more secretive in terms of what I'm working on. So in these videos, I'm not necessarily going to be telling you, hey, this is the video I'm working on next, or this is the game that I'm doing next. I'm not necessarily going to be talking about that anymore, just for the sake of keeping things fresh when I actually upload the video. Now, continuing on this point, I would love to hear some suggestions for games that you would like to see some of my video reviews on. So any games from, I don't know how old you want to go. I'm cool with anything pretty much, up until the modern stuff too, of course. I'm thinking of a few, so don't repeat what I already am going to say here. So Project Cars is one I'm already working on. Dirt, I've heard that many times. But apart from those two, yeah, leave your suggestions. Those videos, as I mentioned, those two that I mentioned just now, have not been started. Don't even expect them anytime soon. They're simply just concepts and have not been started in the slightest. But, hearing suggestions from you guys is really important, and I think it helps direct what you all want to see, and helps me just get an idea of what you really want to see. Now, I'm going to try something out here, and I want to hear from you all in the comments as to whether you like this or not. But I, asked some of the people on Discord if they'd be interested in hearing some of my, funny or crazy stories from work or high school, stuff like that. And I'm going to share a few about work. So for those of you that don't know, I am a apprentice mechanic. I work at a full repair shop. I mostly do suspension work, brake work, stuff like that. And I have some interesting stories, shall I say, of some of the things that happen at work. So I have pictures for this next story, and it's an interesting one. This one happened maybe about a month ago, and I think you all are going to be interested in this one. So there's going to be a little bit of setup to this story, so I can just get some context in, but here goes. So we had I believe it was a Jeep Patriot or a Jeep Compass that came in because the customer, he just had some work done at another shop and simply just came in and said, hey, I need a wheel alignment. So sure, no biggie. I've done, hundreds, if not, 1,000 wheel alignments before. Should be no issue. We'll get it done in an hour. I, get the car up on the lift, start looking at it and all that, start doing the alignment. Notice that the specifications are really quite out of spec, so I'm like, this isn't necessarily out of the ordinary if you've just had a major suspension component replaced, as either they don't quite match up, so you need to get that alignment just to make sure everything's good. So yeah, I noticed it was pretty out of alignment, nothing crazy. Get everything back into specs, and then get in the car and get ready to go for a test drive. So unfortunately, my capture card ended up totally freezing there, so apologies. I'm going to finish this story in just a sec. I just needed to reset my Xbox and the capture card, and we should be good to go now. So as I was saying just then, got everything all buttoned up and ready to go for a test drive. So we always have to test drive a vehicle after an alignment just to make sure it drives safely, that we didn't make anything worse during the alignment, and make sure the steering wheel is dead straight, just, for customer safety reasons, of course. So I pull out of the parking lot, and, I'm going pretty slow, maybe 25, 30 kilometers an hour, and I start to feel like, the steering wheel is pretty crooked, but not only is it crooked, it's, like, gradually getting worse. Like, it's slowly pulling to the right. And then, all of a sudden, as I'm thinking this, I hear this massive ba-dung clang smash of the ball joint on the passenger side completely sharing off, and this ended up dropping the CV axle and smashing that in half and tearing a bunch of other I think it tore it tore the brake line too. Definitely not an ideal situation, to say the least. So funnily enough, after this happened, I actually was, I don't know if it was shock or whatever, but I was like completely fine. I wasn't even startled in the slightest. I literally just hopped out and was like, oh, okay, that's unfortunate. So I ended up, once it kind of sunk in what actually just happened, I, got some random guy who was walking on the street to help me push the car onto the sidewalk out of the way so that, obviously it's not blocking traffic. Luckily I was able to, when I was still in the car after everything fell off, I was able to just kind of stop the car, but unfortunately because so many things got broken, including, I believe the inner tie rod got bent, the vehicle wasn't even able to steer. So you could literally only just stop, and that's it. So yeah, got one of the, massive, thank you to whoever the dude was on the street who helped me push the car out the way. And I ran, again, it wasn't really that far from my shop. It was maybe like 100 feet, if that. And just ran back to the shop real quick and said, hey boss, the wheel fell off. My boss just looks at me, he's like, what you mean the wheel fell off? I'm like, the wheel fell off. He didn't believe me at first. He thought I was just messing with him. And then I said, no, I'm not joking. Here, get a few of the guys and a floor jack so we can, get the car, able to move. So sure enough, I think we get 4 guys over there. And, yeah, it was interesting to say the least. So we ended up actually having to get a tow truck just to tow the car right back around the block. And so the whole time, yeah, the customer was waiting there. But when we all ran out to his car, my boss kind of grabbed him and said, hey, your wheel fell off. And, luckily for everyone in the situation, the customer actually realized that he wasn't super trustful of the shop who he had the work done previously. And he said he had some really sketchy experiences with them. So he immediately was like, oh yeah, this seems like the kind of thing that would happen from their work quality. So we got the tow truck and just towed it back around the block, normally, and then parked it back in our parking lot. We ended up actually taking over and doing the work ourselves, but we did not charge the customer. We charged the shop who did the work originally, because you cannot, can't expect a customer to pay for someone else's mistake. That's just silly. And in the end, the car got repaired, nice and easy, nice and fixed. The customer actually ended up super happy with it. He was a nice guy and super understanding the whole time. None of this was his fault or our fault. It was just kind of one of those crazy things that happens in a shop. So that's the first story. I'm not going to tell another one here, but let me know in the comments, are you interested in hearing more of these stories? Because trust me, I have so many more. So I think anyone who has ever worked in a shop will be able to relate to the fact that crazy stuff happens there. The automotive world is quite crazy. It's actually, I've been in the automotive field for a while now, and I wouldn't change it for anything else apart from YouTube, obviously. But I absolutely love it. Working on cars every day is so much fun. But it has its moments, funny moments, crazy moments, and you also have just very stressful moments. It's tough because it's a very demanding career. It's very physically demanding, but also mentally demanding. You have to get a lot done within a certain time frame, and that's not for everyone. There are some people that really can have the opportunity to succeed in that field, but it is not for everyone. But again, please let me know if you're interested in seeing any more of these stories, because yeah, I have plenty, not only from this shop, but from high school, and then some of my previous experiences. Man, they were, when I say high school, I mean previous high school auto shop. I got some crazy stories. Kids throwing explosives in classrooms. That one's not a joke, by the way. But in regards to that Jeep from earlier, I think I promised I would show you pictures. So here you go. Here's what you can see. So in this first picture, you get one angle, and then the second one you'll get another angle of the damages. It's not pretty. And if you don't necessarily understand what you're seeing, that's totally fine. I know not everyone has, all that mechanical knowledge. Just know that that's not supposed to look like that. Okay, so we're pretty on our way. 750 points to the gold wristband, man. Crazy. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for this episode. Again, let me know if you were enjoying some of the topics that I brought up in the video, and, you know, what else you want to see, anything else you want to see me discuss in future episodes, maybe? Because, you know, I'm always looking for stuff to talk about in these episodes. And, yeah, just let me know in the comments, and leave a like if you're continuing to enjoy the series, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode.